Have you ever witnessed a moment where someone is treated badly, only to be surprised by how the person with the power to act chooses to respond? What if, in a high-end restaurant, a security guard is humiliated in front of everyone, only for the person who could easily ignore the situation, an actor, decides to step in and turn the whole thing around? How would that change your perspective on power, kindness, and respect? Eun-Woo, a beloved K-pop idol and actor, is known for his charming smile, his dedication to his craft, and his loyal fanbase. But what most don't see is his strong sense of humility and empathy. One evening, Eun-Woo was enjoying a quiet dinner at a well-known upscale restaurant, accompanied by his security guard, who is usually there to ensure the actor's safety and comfort. The restaurant, renowned for its exclusivity and refined clientele, is filled with an air of elegance, soft jazz music playing in the background, the clinking of glasses, and waiters in immaculate uniforms attending to the guests. As the night progresses, the security guard, a man in his 40s, stands near the entrance, quietly observing the room while Eun-Woo enjoys his meal. He's used to the occasional glance from other diners, some curious and some indifferent, as he keeps watch over his charge. His role is important, but often overlooked. Most people in the restaurant are there to enjoy the food, the ambience, or the celebrities who are sometimes in attendance. Little do they know, the man standing by the door, who looks out of place in his uniform, has a life story of his own, one that, like many in the service industry, often goes unseen. But that night, his moment of invisibility takes a sharp turn. A woman, who appears to be in her 50s, walks into the restaurant with an air of superiority. She's dressed in high-end designer clothes, a sharp contrast to the more modest appearance of the security guard. She walks past him without a glance but stops abruptly, turns, and sneers. "You're blocking the way," she says loudly, her tone dripping with disdain. "Can't you see that this is a fine restaurant? Do you really think someone like you belongs here, standing in front of all these guests?" The security guard, taken aback by the woman's harsh words, looks around to make sure there's no misunderstanding. He's trying his best to remain professional and not cause any disruption. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he says, stepping aside. "I'm just here to ensure the safety of the guests." The woman scoffs, clearly irritated by his response. "Safety? You look like you should be cleaning tables, not standing here like you own the place. This is a luxury restaurant, not some cheap diner." She looks at him with contempt, completely unaware of the fact that his presence was there to keep her and everyone else safe. As the situation escalates, other guests begin to notice the exchange. A few uncomfortable glances are exchanged, but no one steps in to defend the security guard. This moment of humiliation for him seems to go unnoticed by most, but it doesn't escape Eun-Woo's attention. From his seat, Eun-Woo, who has been quietly enjoying his meal, looks up and sees the woman's dismissive attitude toward his security guard. He knows that the man has been nothing but polite, doing his job as always, and yet here he is, being humiliated for reasons beyond his control. This situation is more than just a minor discomfort, it's a moment of human dignity being stripped away in public. Without hesitating, Eun-Woo stands up from his seat and walks over to the woman. The room quiets as people notice the actor's presence, his calm demeanor drawing everyone's attention. The woman, who had been so confident in her public dismissal of the security guard, now turns in surprise as Eun-Woo approaches her. "Excuse me," Eun-Woo says, his voice steady and calm. "This man is not just a security guard. He is a person, and he deserves the same respect as anyone else in this room." The woman's face flushes with embarrassment, the weight of the public intervention sinking in. I didn't mean," she stammers, clearly taken aback. Eun-Woo looks at her directly, his expression unwavering. "You didn't just insult him, you insulted every person who works hard to make sure that people like you are safe and comfortable. His job matters, and he deserves to be treated with dignity." The room remains silent for a moment, as the woman tries to find words but is unable to respond. The tension in the air is palpable. Eun-Woo turns back to the security guard, who has remained stoically silent throughout the exchange, his head slightly lowered. "You did nothing wrong," Eun-Woo says, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I'm sorry you had to go through that. Let's continue with the evening." The security guard, visibly relieved, looks at Eun-Woo with gratitude in his eyes, nodding silently. The woman, now thoroughly embarrassed, lowers her gaze and retreats to her table, unable to speak another word. The other patrons of the restaurant, who had watched in silence, begin to murmur among themselves. The atmosphere shifts from one of discomfort to one of respect for the way the situation was handled. No longer is the security guard seen as an invisible figure. Eun-Woo is shown that everyone, no matter their position, deserves respect. As Eun-Woo and his security guard return to their table, the mood in the restaurant seems lighter. The actor's simple but powerful gesture of standing up for the man who had been humiliated has made an impact. He didn't just defend someone he knew, he defended a human being, someone who was being mistreated for no reason other than their role in society. As the evening continues, Eun-Woo and his security guard return to their table, and the restaurant slowly resumes its usual atmosphere, though a subtle shift in energy remains. People now seem more respectful toward the security guard, and the staff is more mindful in their interactions. Eun-Woo can't help but notice the ripple effect his intervention has had. What was once a moment of humiliation has now turned into a quiet act of defiance against disrespect. Back at their table, Eun-Woo gestures for the security guard to sit down, offering him a smile. "Please, relax. Don't let it bother you. You don't deserve to be treated like that," he says sincerely. The security guard nods, his eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. "Thank you, sir. You didn't have to do that, but I'm grateful that you did." Eun-Woo's face softens, and he leans back in his chair, clearly reflecting on the significance of the moment. "It's not about me. It's about doing what's right. We all deserve respect, regardless of what we do for a living. Sometimes, people forget that," he says, his voice calm and measured. As the two of them continue their dinner, the ambience of the restaurant seems to shift in their favor. The other guests who had witnessed the interaction begin to subtly smile at them, nodding with silent appreciation for how the situation was handled. Even the staff seems to treat them with more warmth and respect, a silent acknowledgement of the actions that had unfolded just moments before. Outside the restaurant, a few passers-by had heard the commotion inside, and some even stopped to ask what had happened. Soon, the story began to spread. A well-known celebrity had stood up for his security guard in a luxury restaurant, turning a moment of humiliation into a reminder that respect for others is more important than status or position. The incident quickly catches the attention of local media, with headlines highlighting Eun-Woo's intervention and the public reaction. Social media platforms erupt with praise for the actor, with fans and even critics commenting on his humility and kindness. What seemed like a minor incident has now sparked a larger conversation about social hierarchy and the treatment of workers in service roles. Eun-Woo, however, remains focused on the deeper meaning of what happened. He doesn't want this to be about him, he wants it to be a conversation about the everyday heroes who go unnoticed and unappreciated. He takes to his own social media platform to post a message to his followers. "I want to take a moment to remind everyone that respect isn't just reserved for the people we know or those in positions of power. Every person, no matter their job or role, deserves to be treated with dignity. I'm grateful to work with many wonderful people, including those who work behind the scenes to make everything run smoothly. Let's all strive to be kind and respectful to those who may not always be in the spotlight." The response to his post is overwhelming, with thousands of comments expressing support and agreement. Fans begin to share their own stories of kindness and respect toward service workers, from waitstaff to cleaners to security personnel. The hashtag respect everyone quickly trends, becoming a movement in its own right. As Eun-Woo reads through the messages, he feels a sense of fulfillment. It's not about changing the world overnight, he knows that's not realistic. But it's about starting a conversation, sparking a change in the way people treat one another. And that, he believes, is the first step toward creating a more compassionate society. A few days later, Eun-Woo receives a letter from the restaurant, expressing gratitude for the way the situation was handled. The management writes, "We sincerely apologize for the incident that took place in our restaurant. We are committed to ensuring that everyone, regardless of their position, is treated with the respect they deserve. We have implemented new staff training protocols to ensure that this never happens again. Thank you for your actions in reminding us of the importance of kindness and respect. We are honored to have had you as our guest." Eun-Woo smiles as he reads the letter, feeling a quiet sense of pride. This is exactly what he wanted to happen, a shift in the way people think, both on a personal and professional level. The incident wasn't just about standing up for his security guard in the moment, it was about creating a lasting impact, changing attitudes toward respect for all workers, no matter their role. That evening, Eun-Woo receives a call from his security guard. "Sir," the man says, his voice full of gratitude, "I just wanted to thank you again. You've changed how I feel about my job and how I see myself. I've worked for many years, but I've never felt as valued as I do now. You've shown me that my work matters." Eun-Woo's heart warms as he listens. "You matter every day," he responds. "Your work is important, and you deserve to be treated with the same respect as anyone else. Never forget that." As the conversation comes to a close, Eun-Woo reflects on how a single moment, an act of kindness, can change everything. He knows that the road ahead is still long, there will always be challenges in changing the way people think. But he's more determined than ever to keep fighting for a world where everyone is treated with dignity, regardless of their job, status, or background. And as he looks out at the city skyline from his apartment window, he realizes that this is just the beginning. Eun-Woo's words and actions begin to resonate even further, and the ripple effect from that night at the restaurant continues to spread. Not only has he gained the admiration of his fans, but his gesture has caught the attention of corporate leaders, activists, and public figures alike. The message that Eun-Woo has sent about the importance of respecting everyone, no matter their job or status, has become a rallying cry for people everywhere to re-examine how they treat others. In the days following the incident, Eun-Woo was invited to participate in multiple interviews, podcasts, and talk shows. The press coverage continues to highlight his actions and the impact of his message. But each time he speaks about it, he reiterates that it's not about him. It's about changing the way society thinks about respect and kindness. People in service roles, whether they're security guards, waitstaff, or janitors, are the unsung heroes of our daily lives, Eun-Woo says during one interview. They are the ones who work tirelessly behind the scenes to make our lives easier, and yet they often go unnoticed or disrespected. What I did wasn't a grand gesture. It was a simple acknowledgement of their humanity. The impact of Eun-Woo's words is becoming evident. Corporations begin reaching out to him to speak on behalf of their new initiatives focused on respecting and valuing service workers. Charities are asking him to be an advocate for those who are often overlooked, and organizations are working on new policies that focus on worker rights and dignity. In one such meeting, Eun-Woo discusses how companies can foster a more respectful culture within the workplace. It's not enough to pay someone well or give them benefits, he says to a group of executives. They need to feel valued on a personal level. They need to know that their contributions matter, and that they are seen for who they are, not just the job they do. The room is quiet as the executives listen to Eun-Woo's words. It's clear that his message is resonating deeply with them. "You have a powerful voice," one of the executives says, nodding. "And you're right. This isn't just about giving people jobs, it's about creating an environment where they feel respected, where their dignity is upheld. We need to change how we view workers, not just in terms of their output, but in terms of their humanity." The conversation turns into a productive brainstorming session about how to create workplace policies that focus on mental health, respect, and equality. Eun-Woo was honored to be part of this conversation, knowing that the changes being discussed will have a lasting impact on the people who are often left out of the spotlight. Meanwhile, back at the restaurant where the incident originally occurred, the management has implemented new protocols. They've set up training programs for their staff on how to treat everyone with kindness and respect, regardless of their position. The restaurant also launches a public campaign to raise awareness about the importance of recognizing service workers, showcasing their role in making the dining experience memorable. One afternoon, Eun-Woo receives a call from the restaurant's manager, who thanks him for inspiring such significant changes. "We've seen a real shift in the way our customers and staff interact," the manager explains. "People are more mindful of how they speak to one another, and the atmosphere here is noticeably more respectful. We owe it all to the example you set." Eun-Woo smiles as he listens, feeling that his effort has not only helped his security guard but also created a positive change within a business that impacts many others. "I'm glad to hear that," he replies. "It's about setting the tone for how we treat each other. Small actions can lead to big changes." At the same time, the public's response to Eun-Woo's actions continues to grow. Fans from around the world send messages of thanks and support. Many share personal stories about how they began treating workers with more respect after being inspired by his example. A few of Cha Eun-woo's fans even start a social media campaign called #RespectEveryone, where they post photos of themselves interacting with service workers, sharing stories of kindness and appreciation. It's not just about fame or recognition, it's about fostering a community that believes in the value of every person, regardless of their position in life. As Cha Eun-woo reflects on all that has transpired since that night at the restaurant, he realizes that his decision to stand up for his security guard wasn't just a one-time act. It has turned into a movement that has sparked conversations about dignity, respect, and empathy all over the world. And it has shown him just how much power small acts of kindness can have. Despite the recognition and praise, Cha Eun-woo remains humble. He continues to work tirelessly in both his career and his advocacy for respect in the workplace. But now, when he walks into a room, he does so with the knowledge that his actions are making a difference, not just as an actor, but as a catalyst for change. For Cha Eun-woo, this journey has become far more than just a fight for respect in one restaurant. It's a lifetime commitment to ensuring that no one feels invisible, no one feels unimportant, and everyone, regardless of their role, is treated with the dignity they deserve. As the weeks pass, Cha Eun-woo's movement continues to gather momentum. More people begin to take action in their own communities, inspired by his message of respect and equality. The #RespectEveryone campaign spreads not only in South Korea but around the globe, creating a ripple effect that encourages people to consider how they treat those in service roles: waiters, cleaners, drivers, and others who often go unseen. Cha Eun-woo is invited to appear on various talk shows, not just for his acting career but to discuss the impact of his message. His presence on these shows amplifies the conversation about the importance of respecting others, regardless of their social status or job. In every interview, he reinforces the message that kindness and empathy should not be conditional or based on someone's position. He's often asked why he chose to intervene in such a situation at the restaurant, where he could have easily ignored it. Cha Eun-woo's answer is always the same, his words calm but firm: "It wasn't about me or the situation in the restaurant. It's about recognizing the humanity in every person. Respect isn't earned by what we do for a living, it's something we should give freely to everyone." One day, during a live broadcast, a woman calls in, her voice shaking as she recounts how Cha Eun-woo's actions have influenced her. "I work as a cashier in a grocery store," she begins, "and I've always felt like I was invisible. People never took the time to see me, and I was treated as though my job didn't matter. But after I saw what you did for your security guard, I realized that I deserve to be treated with respect too." Her voice falters for a moment as she continues. "I started standing up for myself more. I've been treated better at work, and my colleagues are more respectful toward each other. Your words changed my life, and I'm so grateful for that." The host of the show, moved by the caller's story, turns to Cha Eun-woo. "It seems that your actions have reached much further than you could have imagined. How does it feel to know that you've made such a profound impact on people's lives?" Cha Eun-woo smiles humbly, but his eyes reflect a deep sense of fulfillment. "It feels good to know that something I did has helped others. But honestly, it's not about what I've done. It's about everyone recognizing that no matter our position, we all deserve respect. It's about changing the way we interact with each other on a daily basis." As the broadcast continues, Cha Eun-woo is flooded with messages from fans and everyday people alike, sharing how they've started to rethink their attitudes toward workers in service roles. For Cha Eun-woo, this confirms that what started as a small, personal act of kindness has grown into something much bigger, a movement that continues to shape the way people interact with one another. One morning, while on his way to a meeting, Cha Eun-woo receives a call from his manager, who informs him that the restaurant where the incident took place has reached out to him again. They want to publicly acknowledge his actions and formally thank him for his contribution to shifting the culture in their establishment. They're offering to make a donation to a charity of your choice, as a token of their gratitude, his manager says. They've even revamped their policies to ensure better treatment of service staff. Cha Eun-woo feels a sense of pride knowing that his actions led to a tangible change within the restaurant's culture. It's not just about public recognition, it's about real, systemic shifts that affect how people are treated on a day-to-day basis. That afternoon, Cha Eun-woo meets with the restaurant's owner and management team to discuss how they can continue working together to promote respect and kindness. During their conversation, the restaurant pledges to hold regular training for staff on treating workers with dignity and to launch a public awareness campaign highlighting the importance of service staff in the community. Eun-Woo agrees to be an ambassador for their campaign, helping to amplify the message that service workers play an integral role in society. "Thank you for taking this seriously," Eun-Woo says as the meeting comes to an end. "This is just the beginning. We have to keep the conversation going." As the conversation moves forward, Eun-Woo's commitment to the cause grows even stronger. It's not just about giving a speech or making a donation, it's about creating lasting change that will continue to impact people long after the media attention fades. In the weeks following the meeting, more restaurants, hotels, and companies begin to reach out to Eun-Woo, asking for his advice on how to implement similar initiatives within their businesses. Some of these establishments begin to partner with non-profit organizations dedicated to workers' rights and mental health support, establishing new programs that provide training and resources for workers to ensure their well-being. Through these collaborations, Eun-Woo learns that true change requires consistent effort, commitment, and a willingness to engage with people at every level. It's not enough to simply speak out, it's about creating spaces for dialogue, advocating for policies that protect workers, and ensuring that everyone has access to the resources they need to succeed. As Eun-Woo moves forward, his work is far from over. He continues to raise awareness about the importance of respect, ensuring that people in every corner of society, no matter their job, are treated with the dignity they deserve. And although the journey ahead will not always be easy, Eun-Woo knows that each small act of kindness is a step toward a better world. For now, he's content knowing that his actions have inspired others to take a stand, and that the movement for respect and kindness is gaining strength every day. As Eun-Woo's movement continues to grow, the conversations surrounding respect and dignity become more and more widespread. The #RespectEveryone movement gains more traction, with people from all walks of life sharing their stories, creating campaigns, and advocating for better treatment of workers. The momentum is undeniable, and Eun-Woo finds himself not only continuing to speak out but also taking part in larger discussions about social responsibility, kindness, and the power of influence. One afternoon, Eun-Woo was invited to speak at a prestigious global summit on social change, where leaders from various industries gather to discuss how they can work together to create a more just and compassionate world. The event is filled with notable figures, including business tycoons, philanthropists, and activists, all of whom share the belief that creating a positive impact on society is a collective effort. During his keynote speech, Eun-Woo addresses the importance of using one's platform to affect change, no matter how big or small. "When we have the power to influence, we must use that power to lift others up," he says, his voice calm but filled with conviction. "It's not enough to speak of respect or kindness, we must show it in our actions, especially toward those who often go unnoticed. Everyone deserves to be seen, heard, and treated with dignity." The audience listens intently, nodding in agreement. After his speech, Eun-Woo was approached by several individuals who are eager to discuss how they can collaborate on projects aimed at improving the conditions for workers in service industries. Eun-Woo agrees to meet with several of them, knowing that the more people involved in this movement, the greater the impact it can have. The following weeks see Eun-Woo being increasingly involved in initiatives that support workers' rights and mental health. He partners with organizations that provide resources for people in service roles, including healthcare workers, teachers, and janitors, all of whom play critical roles in society but often face burnout and neglect. One day, Eun-Woo meets with a group of healthcare workers at a community center to listen to their struggles. As they share their experiences, Eun-Woo was moved by the stories of exhaustion, stress, and emotional pain. Many of these workers talk about feeling invisible, as though their hard work is taken for granted. "I never expected recognition for what I do," one nurse says, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "But sometimes it feels like no one cares, even when we're giving everything we have to help others. The long shifts, the pressure, it gets to be too much." Eun-Woo listens quietly, his heart aching for these workers who are doing critical work without receiving the acknowledgement they deserve. "You matter," he says gently. "Your work is essential. And I'm here to make sure people like you are heard, appreciated, and supported." Later that day, Eun-Woo speaks with a group of policymakers who are working on a new initiative to ensure that mental health support is available to workers in high-stress environments like healthcare and education. "It's time we recognize that mental health isn't something we can ignore. If we expect workers to perform at their best, we need to give them the tools they need to stay healthy and supported, Eun-Woo says, advocating for the implementation of better mental health resources in workplaces. The policymakers agree, and within weeks, they begin working on policies that provide mental health days, counseling services, and wellness programs for workers in critical fields. Eun-Woo is proud of the progress being made, knowing that these changes will have a lasting effect on the lives of those who are so often overlooked. Throughout all of this, Eun-Woo remains humble and focused on the larger picture. His fame and recognition continue to grow, but he is more determined than ever to use his platform for the greater good. Whether he is speaking to world leaders, advocating for workers' rights, or simply listening to the stories of those who have been marginalized, he is unwavering in his commitment to making the world a more compassionate and respectful place. His impact continues to expand beyond just his fans or the entertainment industry. People across the globe are beginning to rethink the way they treat those who serve them, whether it's in a restaurant, a hospital, or a corporate office. More companies are implementing policies that prioritize the well-being and dignity of their workers, and individuals are taking steps to ensure that everyone, regardless of their role, is treated with kindness and respect. At the same time, Eun-Woo never loses sight of the importance of personal connections. One evening, he receives a message from his security guard, the same man who had been humiliated in the restaurant that night. The message is simple, but it carries a weight of gratitude. "Sir, I just wanted to thank you again for everything you've done. You changed my life in ways I can't even put into words. I no longer feel invisible, and I now know that my work matters. Thank you for seeing me." Eun-Woo smiles as he reads the message. It's moments like these that remind him why he started this journey in the first place. His actions may have changed his security guard's life, but they've also sparked a movement that has the power to change the world. As he reflects on the path he's taken, Eun-Woo knows that this is just the beginning. The work is far from finished, but he's confident that the movement for respect and dignity is gaining ground. With every step, with every person he meets, he's building a world where kindness and respect are the norm, not the exception. And so, Eun-Woo continues his work, always striving to lift others up, always standing for what is right, and always reminding the world that everyone, no matter their job or status, deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. The weeks continue to pass, and Eun-Woo's movement for respect and dignity in the workplace continues to gain momentum. The #RespectEveryone campaign, which started as a simple response to a personal experience, has blossomed into a global initiative. More businesses, organizations, and institutions are reaching out to Eun-Woo to collaborate on making their environments more inclusive and respectful toward service workers and others in undervalued roles. Eun-Woo's life has changed significantly since that fateful night at the restaurant. He's no longer just an actor or singer, he has become a symbol of kindness, a beacon for social change. Yet, despite the recognition, he remains as humble as ever, always reminding others that his actions were just part of a much bigger movement. One afternoon, Eun-Woo was invited to attend a global charity gala in Paris, where the focus is on promoting the rights and welfare of workers in industries that are often overlooked, like agriculture, hospitality, and transportation. The event is filled with prominent figures, philanthropists, and CEOs from major companies, all gathered in one room to discuss how they can improve conditions for workers and make a positive social impact. As Eun-Woo takes the stage to speak, he looks out over the audience, which includes both industry leaders and ordinary people who have been invited for their contributions to the cause. His heart beats a little faster, not out of nerves, but out of the knowledge that what he's about to say matters deeply. "Thank you all for having me here tonight," he begins, his voice calm but filled with passion. "It's an honor to stand before you today, but more importantly, it's an honor to stand with all of you who believe that every person deserves respect, regardless of their job or status. I stand here not just as a celebrity, but as a human being who has been deeply moved by the power of kindness and empathy." The crowd listens intently, hanging on to his every word. Eun-Woo continues, "We have the power to make a real difference in the world. It's not enough to talk about respect, we must show it through our actions. Whether it's a waiter who serves us dinner, a driver who ensures our safety, or a janitor who keeps our spaces clean, we need to remember that they are not invisible. They are people. And we need to treat them as such." A moment of silence fills the room as Eun-Woo's words hang in the air. The significance of what he's saying resonates deeply with everyone present, regardless of their position in the room. Just like the people we admire for their success, he continues, the ones who work behind the scenes deserve our gratitude. But more than that, they deserve our respect. Without them, nothing would function as it does. It's time we create a world where everyone, no matter their role, is recognized for the value they bring to our lives. The applause that follows is thunderous. Eun-Woo stands at the podium, looking around the room at all the people who are now beginning to understand the true power of what he's advocating for. This isn't just about one person standing up for another, it's about creating a cultural shift, where empathy and kindness are the cornerstones of every interaction. After the gala, several of the business leaders approach him, eager to discuss how they can incorporate his message into their company's cultures. Eun-Woo was invited to partner with major international corporations to launch employee programs that focus on the well-being and respect of service workers, implementing policies that encourage kindness, empathy, and mental health support for employees. These partnerships lead to the creation of Respect Initiative programs in various industries, aimed at improving the lives of service workers and creating safer, more respectful work environments for all employees. Eun-Woo's role as a spokesperson for the movement becomes even more prominent, as companies across the globe begin to implement the principles of kindness, respect, and dignity within their organizations. One evening, after returning from a particularly busy week of meetings, Eun-Woo sits down to reflect on everything that has transpired since that moment in the restaurant. The road has been long, and there have been challenges, but the impact has been profound. He receives another message from his security guard, the man who had been humiliated in front of everyone. This time, the message is more than just gratitude, it's a reflection of the change Eun-Woo has inspired. Sir, I've been thinking a lot about everything that has happened, the message reads. You didn't just change my life. You changed the way I see myself. I now feel seen, heard, and valued in a way I've never felt before. Thank you for showing me that I'm important, no matter my job. Thank you for showing me that I matter. Eun-Woo smiles as he reads the message, a sense of fulfillment washing over him. The ripple effect of his actions has extended far beyond the restaurant, far beyond his own circle of influence. His simple act of kindness has led to systemic change, and more importantly, it has changed the way people see each other. As he reflects on the journey, Eun-Woo knows that his work is far from done. There is still much to accomplish, more workers to uplift, more businesses to educate, more hearts to inspire. But for now, he feels a deep sense of peace, knowing that he has made a difference, no matter how small it may seem. He looks out at the city skyline from his apartment window, the lights twinkling below. There's a sense of quiet satisfaction within him. This has been a journey of understanding, compassion, and respect, and he knows that as long as he can, he will continue to be a voice for those who are often overlooked. The road ahead may be long, but with every step, Eun-Woo is helping to build a world where everyone, no matter their job or status, is treated with the dignity they deserve.